Hey, this is Steve. Welcome to another ABCs of Music. If you want to help support this and other content on this channel, head on over to patreon.com/StephenHartmanMusic, where you can sign up and get access to some exclusive videos and clips. But for now, on with the show. Hey everybody, and welcome to another ABCs of Music. Today we're going to talk about the letter C and something that starts with C in music. Now you might think of a few things like chords, or maybe cables, or maybe even the key of C. But today we're going to talk something a little crazier. We're going to talk about cadences. When we're speaking or reading, we often read in what are called phrases or say phrases. And at the end of those phrases, we have an inflection with punctuation at the end there. Now in music, a cadence represents the end of a musical phrase. A cadence can be classified by the chords in the end of that phrase. Whether it's a 5-1 or a 4-1, there are different types of cadences based on that chord progression. And we're going to look at a few of the more common ones today. The first cadence we're going to talk about today is the authentic cadence, which has two categories, the perfect and the imperfect. They are both a 5-1 or a dominant chord to the tonic chord. The perfect authentic cadence has both chords, the 5 and the 1, in root position, meaning the root of the chord is on the bottom. But also, on the last chord, the 1 chord, the root is in the highest voicing as well, like this. With the imperfect authentic, I need to pause here for a second. What you're about to see is an oversimplified version of the imperfect authentic cadence, and I should have mentioned some further data with this. In my research, there are actually 3 types of imperfect authentic cadences. The most standard that many people know is the root position imperfect authentic cadence, which is like the standard perfect authentic cadence, but the highest voice is not in the tonic. The next one is the inverted imperfect authentic cadence, is similar to the perfect authentic cadence, but the chords are in inversions where the root is no longer the bottom note. And the last one I mentioned briefly coming up is the leading tone imperfect authentic cadence, where instead of using the 5 chord, you're going to be using a diminished 7th chord. The progression still ends on 1. Let's carry on. Cadence. The root may have changed, most likely it's an inversion. The 1 chord at the end will be in a different voicing, won't be on top. And there are some substitutions you can do with that, like playing a diminished 7th chord instead of the dominant, like this. The key to remember with both the perfect and imperfect authentic cadences, they are both a 5-1 progression. That's it. Now the next chord to think about is the plagal cadence. Now plagal cadence is a 4-1 progression, which is often heard in something like the Amen you might hear at church, like this. Easy peasy, right? It sounds kind of like a suspended chord going from the 4th and the 6th, resolving to the 3 and the 5 of the 1 chord. That makes sense? Anyone? The last cadence we're going to talk about today is the deceptive cadence, because it's my favorite one. The deceptive cadence is a 5-6 progression. So it sounds rather unresolved and it's kind of weak because it wants to go somewhere. But I like that it's deceptive. It's always fun to have that musical phrase going. Oh, it's gonna end, it's going to end, but no, it doesn't. It just keeps going because of that 6. So here's the sound of it, deceptive cadence, go. And I'm just doing big blocky chords. So you can see in the authentic cadence and the plagal cadence, they both resolve to 1. Whereas in the deceptive cadence, it doesn't finish off. It needs to go back through a phrase that sounds like it would be really hard to end the song there without hurting people's ears. So, you learned a new word today. It's cadence. Do you like that? It's a cool word. It means the end of a musical phrase. That's all you have to say. It's the end of a musical phrase. So today we looked at the most common cadences, the authentic cadence, perfect and imperfect. We looked at the plagal cadence and we looked at the deceptive cadence. But there's so many more. There's like Lydian cadences and half cadences and all these crazy things. Half cadences are stupid because they don't have 5, but nobody cares. Anyhow, I hope you learned something today. And I'll see you next time on the ABCs of Music while we go to the shaker party. Well, shaking a baby now. Shaking a baby. shout, twist and shout. Come on, baby, now. Come on, baby. Come on and work it on out. Work it on out. You know you twist so good. Twist real good. You know you twist so fine. Twist so fine. You really got me going now. Got me going. And let me know that you're mine. Let me know you're